How exciting. Mallrat's here.
Eek.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello.
I am super excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Your latest single, Pavement, what a beautiful song. Tell me about the inspiration behind it.
Thank you. There are a few juxtaposing inspirations and actually samples in that song. So it was really fun to make and combine all of these different things. One of the main influences that isn't quite so obvious until you know that it was an influence was traditional Irish music, which I've been listening to a lot of, especially in the last few years. And so I think the melodies and the outro hum are really influenced by those kinds of melodies. But then I also sample my friend's band from Brisbane called Cub Sport, who are like an indie band. And then I also sample this producer called DJ Zerk, who's like from the like kind of late 90s, early 2000s era of Memphis rap, which is like this really gritty, bouncy, tough scene. So yeah, it's got a lot of different things in there.
You draw inspiration from, and I wrote this down because this was such a great quote. You draw inspiration from magical realism in Australian suburbia. What a great quote. Seeking beauty and magic in the ordinary. Is that fair to say that that is true?
Yeah, that's true. Especially for all of my visual things, I've really honed in on that. But yeah, it's just how I look at the world, and it's kind of the world around me when I was growing up, in my eyes, looked like that. So I think it's just natural that it's bled out into what I make.
So how does it happen then? You can literally be walking down the street and you'll just be like, oh, okay, that is, I mean, I think, you know, in your latest single, In Pavement, there's a line about the light hitting you. Does it just come like that?
Yeah, it's just how I see it all. I hope I'm not alone in it. I think a lot of people can probably find the beauty in it. But I started writing that song after a really nice night out with my friends in America, and we were walking home and it was raining, and it was like the lyric that I wrote down on that walk was the light on the rain on the pavement, because it was beautiful and it just felt like it captured a really beautiful moment and a really beautiful night, and then I fleshed it out into the song, I suppose.
So is that how it normally works for you? You start with a sort of one line and then you build it from there?
Yeah, my phone is full of lots of little 1 or 2 lines, and then I have to really sit down and try and imagine. I'll come up with a melody and then I'll go through all those notes and see if anything makes sense for the melody that I've written usually. So things come together at different times.
So with that particular track then, with Pavement, what is your favourite lyric from that? Is it that line? Is it the starting line, or is it something that came after?
Probably the following line, or a couple of lines later, is the lyric that became the album title, which is light hit my face like a straight right. And a straight right in boxing is the power punch generally. And unless you're southpaw maybe. And I love the idea that something as gentle as light can wreak havoc and chaos on a situation or a person. So I think that's probably my favorite lyric from that song.
Do you do boxing?
Yeah, I do kickboxing.
Because I saw on your socials you were doing a little bit of that. I'm like, she's cool.
Thank you. It's been like I feel like I've kept it a secret for a long time. You know, when there's something that you care about, but you're like, oh, I'm not like, I don't want people to think like I think I'm the best or something. But it's just come up a lot lately, and my friends have captured a few funny videos, or not funny, like kind of awesome videos of me doing some head kicks and stuff. And I'm like, wait, actually I am really good, and these are really, really sick little videos.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them. I'm like, this girl can move.
Thanks.
So is this something that you use just for fun? Is it something that you're doing to release tension, or you just love it?
It's so much fun for me. I think I probably enjoy it in a similar way to how I imagine people enjoy dancing. Because one of the things I love about kickboxing is that when you're really exhausted and gassed out, you're not thinking about that, because you're thinking about the combination and the techniques. And I always love things where I can feel new neural pathways being formed and new connections being made between different parts of my brain. And it reminds me of like learning a new language and trying to piece different things together and strengthen those relationships between different ideas. So it's really fun when it all clicks, but the process I enjoy a lot of, learning and focusing on the technique.
And if you're not focused, you're going to get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
If you zone out for a second.
You can't be thinking about something embarrassing that you did that morning.
You can't be scrolling and just like doom scrolling. You've got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs something like boxing in their lives to get them out of that like little bubble.
Yeah.
So we were talking before off air about Brisbane. You are a Brizzy girly and seeking inspiration from Brisbane. Tell me a little bit about that. So you grew up in Brisbane?
Yeah, grew up in Brisbane, and I've almost kept it a secret that I don't live there anymore. I rep it so proudly, and I'm so inspired by a lot of music that's come out of there, and just I think the pace of it and what it looks like, even though it's not always beautiful or exciting, is special. Yeah.
I love Brisbane. I lived there for a while, for a few years, and it is interesting, that pace. For some people, it's too slow. For some people, it's just normal. For me, it wasn't too slow, and then I came to Sydney, and I was like, okay, overwhelming. But Brisbane does have a nice pace to it.
Yeah, and I think that now that I'm older, the thing about it that I've noticed has impacted me is that imagination that we were talking about. I think being a teenager, being bored, spending a lot of time on public transport looking out windows and daydreaming has literally shaped how I look at the world. And I don't know if I had grown up in a different city, if I would look at the world the same way. So yeah, I think Brisbane has definitely shaped that.
We were talking before off air again about Trent Dalton, the amazing Brisbane author. How has he impacted your life, or how has his books in particular?
Boy Swallows Universe is my favorite book, and one of the reasons I love it so much is because I have never seen Brisbane represented in a book before. I've never read a book that's set in Brisbane, and then for it to cover some really like gritty but familiar topics and some really heavy, ugly stuff, but through the eyes of a child, and you're not sure what's the child's imagination, what's actual magic that's coming on, like that's happening around the kid, what's like PTSD. I love that ambiguity, and I really appreciate that. And it's also a cool connection as well, because my mum was a journalist and she worked at the Courier Mail with Trent Dalton.
No way. Yeah. That's so cool.
And so I've reached out to Trent Dalton like since reading that book a couple times and just been like, hey, like these stories mean so much to me. We've had a few really lovely conversations, and yeah, I just think he's done something really special with that.
Have you read Lola in the Mirror?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is also crazy, because I started reading Lola in the Mirror not long after it came out. And when I was about 20 pages in, I had already teared up so many times, and I had to close the book and I had to message Trent Dalton straight away, which sounds insane because we've never met. We don't really have like a close relationship, but I had to message him because I was like, Trent Dalton, like, you don't understand. I have written a song called Horses, which has come out since then, but I've written a song that is Lola's song. It's like all of these scenes that have happened in my song as well. And I sound like a crazy person, but then I sent him the demo and he was like, this is so special, like this is her song. And it was a really nice thing to bond over. But it was honestly kind of freaky, like the specificity of some of the scenes and the characters that I at least imagine in the song matched up so perfectly to the book.
Wow. When it gets made into a Netflix show like Boy Swallows Universe, that'll have to be the theme.
It'd be perfect.
It would be perfect. Let's manifest that.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful book. I think I cried several times during that book.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, it does come back to, like, you know, if you've lived somewhere and you know exactly where they're talking about, you know exactly which bit of Brisbane he's talking, you can visualize it in your head, and it makes it really, really special.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, we love Brisbane.
Yes, exactly.
We love Sydney and Melbourne too. We love everywhere.
Yeah.
But Brisbane's got its own personality, I think.
Definitely.
So what's happening next for you?
I just announced some tours, so that's pretty exciting. But the tours are for my album, which is the thing that I'm most excited about. And my album is out Feb 14. And yeah, I've been sitting on these songs for a little bit, and I'm just so excited to have them out in the world. I'm really in love with them, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful. So the album's out on Valentine's Day. Did you purposefully want it out on Valentine's Day?
The answer to this is kind of disappointing. The answer is I didn't care when it was released, and it was, I think, something that just logistically made sense for everybody else involved in releasing the music. So it's a very pragmatic date decision. On the upside, it's a memorable date. Valentine's Day, new Mallrat album. Very easy to remember. But no, there's no real reason why.
The stars were aligned. That's exactly why. And you know, like you say, it is a memorable date. So you're touring Australia and America, I saw.
Yes.
That America tour looks heckers.
Yes.
You have a lot of dates.
Oh, it's a lot of dates. I'm a little bit nervous that I will have a freak out and be like, no, I want to go home.
I want to go home. This is too much. I think it will go really quickly for you. What I love about looking at all of the venues that you're touring in America is that you're going to get to see so much of America that a lot of people don't, like going to places like, I think your first date is in Dallas or something, and it's like places you wouldn't necessarily go on holiday, and you're going to get to see these places. Is this going to be a new experience for you? Have you ever been to any of these places?
I have. The only downside, and I don't mean to sound negative because I am really excited about it and I'm excited about seeing all these places, but the sad thing is you're in and out so quickly when you're playing shows. But yeah, I have been lucky enough to go to these places before, once again briefly, but it'll be so nice to hopefully have some more off days in places that we haven't explored properly, make some new friends, eat some yummy food. The funniest thing to me about touring in America is stopping at the gas stations, because of course they don't call them servos, they're gas stations. And the merch that they sell, for lack of a better word, is so American. It's like, yeah, hats with flags and guns on them, and like t-shirts that say like, I'm a trucker's wife, don't mess with me, with like a massive truck and an American flag superimposed on it. It's pretty interesting and quite cool, actually. Some of the stuff is really good.
USA.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be really different now. I think it'd be a really interesting time to go over the next few months, given the climate in America. So that would be really fascinating.
It will be interesting.
To see that sort of like, I don't know, how people are, how it's all going down. So much to look forward to from you then. Well, I'm here for the ride. I'm excited. I can't wait for the new album. Love the track. I've been like over and over again listening to it. It's so beautiful, and I feel like every time I listen to it I hear something else. So
thank you. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mallrat.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go, let's get a couple of IDs.
Beautiful.
I'm Mallrat, and this is my single Pavement.
I'm Mallrat, and this is my new single Pavement.
This is iHeart Australia.
This is iHeart Australia.
This is TikTok Trending.
This is TikTok Trending.
And on TikTok, do you have any like life hacks that I can put on TikTok, like a beauty hack or anything like that? Anything that you...
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
So I sometimes like to draw freckles on, especially if I'm having a breakout and I want to kind of distract from it a little bit. I'll put freckles, like little tiny ones near it. And I ran out of the thing that I used to do it. And my friend was like, oh, you just get brown eyebrow gel and then you get a bobby pin or something and you use that to dab on the brown eyebrow gel. And it works really well.
Not me with a spot on my nose covering it up with freckles this morning.
It's good, isn't it?
Giant spot though. But the bobby pin one, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
Just give me the line. Okay, I'm Mallrat, and here is a beauty hack that I learned from TikTok.
I'm Mallrat, and this is a beauty hack I learned from TikTok.
I'm going to be trying that tomorrow morning when I do my makeup.
It's a good one.
And I'm going to message you and I'm going to be like, babe,
let me know how you go.
I will.
You just have to go dab, dab, dab.
Because I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, and I do too much. And I'm like, no one believes you've got those freckles, babe. Like, back off. And it's like, I use my eyebrow pencil and I'm like, back off, girl.
See how you go.
Yeah. Because then over Christmas, I didn't wear any makeup at all. And then I came to do my makeup when I got back to work and I was like, how do I do this? Like, how do I do these freckles again? And I was like, covered. Guys, that was so fun.
Thank you. That was really nice.
That's good.
Thanks for asking about so many nice things.
Oh, my pleasure.